What's up, everybody? Gajewski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. And today we're talking college basketball bets. It's Monday, January the 22nd. College basketball is heating up. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. We're also brought to you by BetMGM, and they have a limited time offer for those of you guys in legal states, with the exception of New York, Puerto Rico, and Nevada. What you're going to do is click the link in the video description below, make your first deposit at least $5, make your first wager at least $5. Any market, anything like that works. You're going to get $158 in the form of bonus bets. And yeah, it's really that easy. You need to be 21 or older in most states. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. But anytime you can get these promos, you guys got to take advantage of this. They will not be around forever. I can guarantee you that. I'm looking at it right now. All right, so a couple of housekeeping things very, very quickly. We'll have this graphic that actually includes the picks very soon. It was the weekend, so our graphics team should get a handle on this now that it's Monday. I know a couple of people asked for a follow-up on that. Some people asked for more transparency. I think I do an okay job of that, but I'll really make sure to hone in on the picks we talked about over the weekend and try to keep it quick. Those of you who aren't too interested and just want the picks for today. But anyway, we did cover the Friday games on the previous show, so you can look at that if you want. Otherwise, over the weekend, on Sunday, had Wichita State plus 4.5. That one hit. Rutgers, Illinois had a monster second half. I was on the under, which missed, and then finished with Indiana State. We don't do a Sunday video here. If you want those picks, they are available in the Discord. I mean, we have a great deal for Odd Shopper right now. Everything is consolidated, Discord, tools, everything like that. It's $14.95 for a week, $49.95 for a month. The link for that is below too if you'd like picks on Sunday, or just reach out to me on Twitter too. I usually will put them over there in some capacity. As for the Saturday games, had Syracuse. That was a late ad, another reason to be on Discord. Miami did not have Norchad Omier. Clemson was a winner against Florida State. I had the under Washington State Cal that missed. From the video, we had Tennessee, Marquette, and Purdue. Those all three hit, but of course you guys know I'm not just betting those three games. I add more throughout the day, but that was nice for those of you that watched the video. Missed on Penn State, missed on UConn on a meaningless half quarter at the end of the game, so that was a little tough. But overall, ended up being a positive weekend, up 3 units in total. All right, if you don't like that recap or you want it restructured, let me know. Today's picks, it's Monday. It's mid-major Monday, but we've got a couple tilts that are pretty important. In the ACC, Wake Forest takes on North Carolina, and this spread is coming down. North Carolina was opening around -10 in some spots. I'm seeing it down to 7.5. There are a few trailing 8s and 8.5s, and I would grab those. I did take 8.5 myself. North Carolina's been on an awesome run, and I'm not going to deny this. Currently 8 games, I believe, and 7 in conference, and 5 of those have been away from their home building. They still have been against Oklahoma, who I'm not really buying, Charleston Southern, Pitt, who's a great team. We just saw them beat a weakened Duke team. Clemson, that was away. That's their best one in the stretch. NC State, I'm not sure what to make of them yet. Syracuse, they're a little bit weak. Louisville sucks, and Boston College. It's a weak conference. So when you have a team like North Carolina, they're going to go on runs. This is a good team. They can definitely make it to a Final Four if everything holds together. But I do think they're a little thin. They play 5 guys. You are getting some minutes out of like a Seth Trimble, but I mean, if anything happens to RJ Davis, Harrison Ingram, Armando Bacot, this team is cooked. And I think that could be a problem against Wake Forest today. Briefly looking at Wake Forest before we go back to North Carolina, this is a team that was severely affected by injuries in the transfer portal. So right away, they didn't have Efton Reed for the first half of the year. I mean, Efton Reed has like 6 games under his belt. He's the 7-foot transfer that got his 2-time waiver clearance mid-season. His presence on the interior is going to be extremely important against Bacot and Ingram. Wake Forest is 11th in effective height. North Carolina is 56th. North Carolina is an excellent rebounding team. They create a ton of second chance opportunities, 65th in offensive rebounding percentage. Having Efton Reed on the inside is going to be massive, and they're probably going to need a lot of Andrew Carr, who's 6'10" as well. So right away, that's one player who is not in the full analytical profile season long for Wake Forest. The second is Damari Monsanto, returned in their last game, and this guy is a monster from 3. We're talking 40% from three on over 200 attempts. The guy has an absolute flamethrower from three. And he's added to a lineup that already had Kevin Miller shooting 38% from three, Hunter Salas at 40%, Cam Hildreth at 39.5%, Andrew Carr at 40%. Their six-man Parker Fredrickson's at 43%. Now I think the best three-point shooter on this team is Monsanto, and you're just absolutely throwing a flamethrower into your lineup. Even if he only played 12 minutes last game, say he jumps up to 15, you now have a much deeper Wake Forest team, and that's not being accounted in the total. Now, North Carolina has great defense. They're actually pretty good at defending the three. The only problem is now you have a lot of spacing issues. And, I mean, like Andrew Carr, if he's on Baycott at some point, Baycott's going to have to come out in the perimeter and defend him. Last thing I'll really say here is one key to this matchup is probably fouling. Efton Reed and Baycott like to foul. Whoever fouls first could be a big point in this game. So if you see Efton Reed pick up 2 fouls immediately, hit the bench, maybe taking a live position on North Carolina could be worthwhile. From a pure game perspective, I'm taking Wake Forest. I took them at the 8.5. I would play them down to 7.5. That's where I would stop. But luckily, 8s are around. You can find those trailing in the market. Get those if you can. All right. Second game, it's Monday, so there's only 2 good games. The second one, Cincinnati, Kansas. I didn't really see that one having a lot of intrigue. For me, it's either Kansas or the under. Both took money overnight, so see those being pretty efficient. Where we can find some values among some of these mid-majors and deeper schools, and I think one particular game is in the Southland Conference where you've got McNeese State taking on Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I'll just say this right away. I disagree with the line movement. I'm seeing McNeese State minus 3.5. I took this at minus 5, and I'm upset I didn't get the best line, but man, I just find this hard to believe. So for those of you not following the Southland Conference, McNeese State is coached by Will Wade, who a lot of you know. A little bit of a throwback there for Will Wade. But yeah, I mean, you got a coach who's one of the better coaches, especially he's the best coach in this conference, I would argue. And he's got this team at a 16-2 record. He also brought in transfers. Like, this is the best roster in the conference. Shahada Wells is a TCU transfer. You've got Ontavian Cullum, Javon Garcia. These guys are all premier transfers coming into the program. And no surprise, they're shooting the ball like crazy. You look at this team, McNeese State, 75th in offensive efficiency, 66th in effective field goal percentage, 3rd in three-point percentage. You parallel this with Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 294th in offensive efficiency, 346th in effective field goal percentage, 351st in three-point percentage. There's only 10 teams worse at shooting threes in the country than Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Now, this team wins in other ways. They win primarily through their defense. Funny enough, they don't even have the edge here. They're 160th in defensive efficiency, whereas McNeese State is 125th. And height-wise, I don't even think they're going to have a major advantage here. They're 177th in effective height. McNeese State is 300th, but the rebounding gap is not that wide. 56th for 56 for A&M Corpus Christi, 119th for McNeese. And I mean, the whole Texas A&M Corpus Christi offense is throwing up a bad shot. They're outside the top 300 in both 2-point and 3-point percentage and getting an offensive board. They live dangerously. They live like Houston. And with a lot of that dangerous play and offensive rebounding comes foul issues. This team is 360th in fouls committed. They commit the 3rd most fouls per 40 minutes of any team in the country. And you know who's 26th in the country at generating fouls? McNeese State. McNeese State, 24th in turnovers. They're 46th in turnovers forced. Meanwhile, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 10th in turnovers, 35th in turnovers forced. So the turnover margin also favors McNeese. I don't know. I'm finding just a lot of reasons to bet McNeese other than they're on the road and very few reasons to take a look at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And we didn't even talk potential injuries. Lance Amir Paul, he missed their last 2 games. He could miss his 3rd game here. He's their 3rd leading scorer. We'll see. But, man, I just couldn't disagree with this line movement any more than what we have. All right, we'll do one more. This is more of a fun one. It's getting closer to efficiency. It's Bethune-Cookman taking on Arkansas Pine Bluff. I took the over at 164.5. It's currently 165.5, which is pretty close to efficient. But, man, like, these teams are going to play at the speed of light. You have a top 30 pace with Bethune-Cookman. You have a top 11 pace with Pine Bluff, and you actually have like the perfect offensive environment because of the way Arkansas Pine Bluff plays. This team's actually pretty decent on offense for a mid-major, 240th in offensive efficiency, but they are the second worst defense in the country. 361st in defensive efficiency is Arkansas Pine Bluff. So yeah, Bethune-Cookman is not the best offense, but man, you have an absolute sieve on the other side. And you're taking all of this with, this is the fastest paced game on the slate. It's not close. And I mean, you can look at Pine Bluff, just the scores and their defense. This team allowed 97 points to Florida A&M. They allowed 67 to Texas Southern, who plays really slow. That should be noted. This team allowed 75 to a D2 school. And then just prior to that, over 100 points in 4 straight games to South Florida, UConn, Gonzaga, Oklahoma, much better competition. But what's important is they scored in those games. Against Oklahoma, they put up 86. Against Gonzaga, 71. UConn, I personally think, is the best team in the country. They only got up 63. But South Florida, 86 points. This team is scoring against pretty good competition, and they're hemorrhaging points. And you can look at the box scores for Bethune-Cookman. It's pretty similar, honestly. Not quite as bad. You don't see as many 100-point games they're allowing. They actually haven't allowed a 100-point game all year. They've scored 100 a couple times themselves. But they've allowed into the 80s plenty of times. Southern put up 81 on them. Florida A&M put up 86. And this team is scoring 80 points routinely. So I do like an over. It would be third on my priority list today, but I still think worth sprinkling if you're taking a look at this game. All right, feedback much appreciated. We'll get this graphic with the picks coming up soon. And if you have a question, I'm on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. Until next time, friends, good luck, and we'll see you later.